Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us back to familiar territory. Near the west entrance of the Kenai National Wildlife Refuge is where Skilac Lake lies. It has drawn a lot of attention on this channel because the brown bears here don't take so kindly to humans. The elevation is low at around 330 feet above sea level. This area has cool, moderately wet summers and mild, snowy winters, with only 20 inches of precipitation each year, on average. The consistent rainfall allows forests of 3 different species of spruce trees, 3 kinds of birch trees, and quaking aspen trees to create a scenic tapestry year-round. The alders, grasses, and willows that fill any open space conceal animals of various sizes, including snowshoe and Alaskan hares. Common animals around Skilac Lake include moose and caribou wandering the hillsides, with Dall sheep and mountain goats clinging to the cliff faces. Predators in this area are a dangerous lot, with coyotes, lynx, wolverines, wolves, as well as black and brown bears. Summertime is the make-hay time for brown bears as they feast on salmon and berries. Competition for these resources can be brutal, even fatal for bears of all sorts, but it is especially hard on the cubs. If their mother doesn't find enough food for her and her cubs, they may be out searching for food into the winter when they should be hibernating. At 8:24 p.m. on June 10th, 2023, 34-year-old Nicholas Abraham was doing what he loved, hunting rabbits just outside of his hometown of Sterling. He was an avid outdoorsman and took advantage of every opportunity he found to venture into the forest and trails around town. Having experience in bear country, Nicholas brought with him his .44 Magnum pistol as his personal protection sidearm, but was likely not anticipating using it, given the black and brown bears of the area generally fled from humans at first sight. As Nicholas pushed his way through shoulder-height brush, he was on the lookout for wild hares. He kept his eyes up and his ears open for the slight movements and sounds the small rodents made as they bounded their escape. From time to time, he would see a hare stand up on its hind legs to get a better view of his location and disappear as he approached. The behavior is called periscoping, as it allows them a better view to satiate their curiosity. A little background on hare behavior is in order to understand Nicholas's situation. Hares are most active at dawn and dusk, or on overcast days. During the daytime, they sleep and groom themselves, as their fur blends in with its surroundings for concealment. They stand on their hind legs to fight for mates, or when they want to see something, sort of like a human standing on their tippy toes. They tend to prefer scrubby ground and avoid forests, so hunting them in the grass around muskeg is common. The only way to hunt hares is to hike through the grass until you run into one and hope you're fast enough on the draw to shoot it. They weigh from 6 to 12 pounds, so their carcass can provide more meat than a chicken, and some say it tastes much better. As Nicholas pushed his way through the brush, he was wary of running into a brown bear due to the salmon runs. The bears search out the fish for nutrients and can be anywhere at this time of year. After pushing through a more open spot in the bushes, Nicholas realized he had walked right up to a sow brown bear that was concealed in the grass. Perhaps she'd been napping or was nursing her 2 cubs, but either way, he was danger close. At only 15 feet apart, Nicholas knew he'd have very little time to do anything if the sow noticed him, and as soon as he took one step back, her head swiveled in his direction. With a startled grunt, the sow dashed toward the hunter with unimaginable speed. A million thoughts flooded through his mind as he fought panic and the urge to run. She closed in on him in a fraction of a second and knocked him to the ground. She stood over him growling and snapping her jaws at him in an awesome display of power. The sow bit Nicholas about the arms before he could collect himself enough to reach for his sidearm. Somehow he managed to pull it from its holster and push the barrel in the sow's direction. Squeezing the trigger sent a thunderous clap from the pistol that was followed by silence. In her rapacious attack, the sow inflicted severe wounds to Nicholas's body, but the bullet from the .44 Magnum did much more to her. As she collapsed, Nicholas could see her 2 cubs bounce back into the brush by themselves. With the sow now dead, Nicholas knew he had to get himself to medical attention. Not being the kind of guy to wait around for someone to find him, he limped and stumbled his way back to his truck after clearing his head for a few minutes. Aware of the fact that he could get to the hospital faster than the ambulance could make it to him, Nicholas drove himself to Kenai Peninsula Hospital, almost 20 miles away in Soldotna. After checking himself in, his injuries were cleaned and his wounds sutured shut. His injuries were labeled as minor, but the mental trauma of such attacks take years to deal with sometimes. Following the report of Nicholas's attack, wildlife officers converged on the site and began analyzing the evidence. The attack was recognized as a defensive attack, and Nicholas's killing of the bear was justified as self-defense. They located the sow's carcass, which immediately became the property of the state of Alaska. Conducting a search for the cubs was fruitless, as they could not be located and stood little chance of survival without their sole protector. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes. And the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce content like this. In the state of Alaska, it is legal to shoot and kill a bear in self-defense, given you haven't done anything to create the situation. Alaska is home to around 30,000 brown bears, and it's astounding that there are not more attacks. They have to consume 80 to 90 pounds of food each day, which takes them far and wide in search of it. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Do you think bear spray would have deterred this sow from attacking Nicholas, or had the encounter occurred too suddenly? What do you think happened to the cubs? If Nicholas hadn't killed the sow, would playing dead have curtailed her attack? Does driving himself to the hospital make Nicholas too tough a fella to mess with? I know I wouldn't want to tangle with him. I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.